the mixed age groups are so wonderful in Montessori, and the reasoning for that, having role models and mentoring going on. But I have to say that the 3-year-olds are just such a delight and such a joy, and continue to amaze me each year. I love the 3-year-olds. I love working with them. I love seeing them discover new things. I love them. There's things that they say, the way they internalize things, the way they're such a sponge and absorb all this information. Their questions, they're just their true bewilderment of all these fascinating materials that they can't wait to get their hands on, and that they're constantly, I'm amazed by their ability to understand so quickly the boundaries of the classroom and the rules and the way the materials work, and just their excitement. They're such a wonderful, wonderful age group, and to see them progress through their 3-year cycle into kindergartners is fascinating and so warming. And it's very sad when those 3-year-olds do become kindergartners to see them also leave, because you do get very attached to the 3-year-old. Having the child with you for 3 years, you become extremely close. One of the benefits to having the 3-year cycle, like I said, is having mentors, and the 5-year-olds helping and mentoring the 3-year-olds or the 4-year-olds. And, we encourage them to it, but they just naturally gravitate to that. They ask, can I help? Their nature, their character wants to so much to be a helper. And that's the beauty of Montessori. And so, of course, we encourage that. And, whether it's helping them give a lesson on, tying a shoe or stapling a paper or rolling a rug. A real cute way the children have really gotten into helping this year is our 3-year-old's nap in the kitchen. And when they're woken up, the teacher usually wakes them up. And this year we've had the group of 5-year-olds who just love to wake up the young sleeping child. And that is very precious to watch, because they're so gentle and they rub their backs. And the child actually wakes up a lot better for the other child, versus for the teacher, who sometimes they want to give it a hard time. And they show them how to fold their mat and put it in their bag. They help them put their shoes on, their socks on. And they're so gentle and talking to the 3-year-olds as though they're the mommy or their daddy, and the snapper was the child. And that's a wonderful, beautiful thing to observe.
Noah, these scissors that I'm cutting, see that the point is great? Oh, I know the problem. All you have to do is use. See? And then the people have
I've never seen anything like this. It was like this little community, all these children working, then one-on-one lessons, is nothing I've ever seen before. So I was like, oh, this is what I want to do. And I kept saying to myself, if I went to a Montessori school when I was younger, the hands-on experience, it was so different from my education. You sit in your desk and you watch the teacher in front of the class, giving your lessons. You're all doing the same thing. And here, they can go as far as they want in math or reading or science, geography. No one's stopping them. The teachers, the one-on-one individual lessons was what really drew me to it, because each child is different. And I really got to learn this and to observe and to see the different ways to handle different kind of children in their learning, to follow the child, as Montessori put it. I just loved it. My first lesson I gave to a child, I was like, oh, it was so exciting just to see their faces and me guiding them through material, and then watching them go back to the material and present it to themselves. And
In the Montessori classroom, there's ground rules, if I can say so. There's something called liberty within limits, which is where A child has the freedom to choose and work independently and on materials as long as they've had a presentation. Also, though, the child has the freedom to choose not to work. Observation plays a huge part in Montessori education, and a child needs to be allowed to observe. A child needs to be allowed to make the choice whether he or she wants to do the work at that given time. We want to create independence, and through observation, they're learning and taking it in, like I refer to as little sponges, because a lot of times you'll see the younger 3-year-old in the beginning very hesitant to want to actually have a lesson or use a piece of material because they're choosing to observe. And in their own time, all of a sudden you will see that child working, and they are emulating and they are doing that work exactly the way they had observed another child doing it with a teacher. So in Montessori, they have the freedom to choose what they're going to do. Now, of course, as the child gets older and we become into their kindergarten year, there is a little bit more accountability as to choosing work. But the child definitely has that right. And we keep close accountability on their record keeping and what lessons they've given and what the next sequential piece of material would be that they would be presented to. And not only do we keep it in our record keeping, but it's amazing, and this is what's hard to articulate, is that we as teachers, it's just like ingrained, it's in our head, it's in our mind. We know all the children, and that's very hard to explain, but you just know all of your children so well. You know, without looking to the book necessarily, where they're at and what material they're, what their interests are and what they're ready for next. The materials are set up to follow the individual child. So a child, whether he's 3, 4, or 5, we will follow that child's interests and ability. So let's just say a child who is 3 happens to be interested and at a point where maybe a 4-year-old is at. We will definitely move and work with that child no matter what age group technically that piece of material may fall under, in technical terms or in books. That we want to spark the child's interests, follow the child's interests, and follow them in their progress no matter what age they're at. As long as it falls within the curriculum of the classroom.
Did you read? You're done? Especially on Mother's Night and Father's Night, when the children get to bring their parents to school, I smile the entire time because they'll give lessons to their parents exactly the way I gave them a lesson or Della gave them a lesson. Just to see their parents smile when they come in and the child hangs up their jacket. No, you have to push your chair and you have to walk quietly, and they tell their parent all these rules, and the parent sits there with amazement and can't believe the work that they're doing. I'm like usually in the kitchen and I sit and giggle in there because I think that's the cutest thing I've ever seen, and every time I'm looking around, I just smile because it's what they've done in class that I always don't get to see because I'm so engaged with children and having lessons. A big part is stepping back and observing, but when they actually get to implement it to their parent, you just smile because that's the best part of it, knowing that they've actually taken what you've taught them in class. And it might have been the first week of school, and now we're months into school and they're teaching it to their parents, or they're teaching, a kindergartner's teaching it to a 3-year-old. That's the best part. Just seeing the kids come in and smile and knowing that they want to be at school. Just seeing them smile and their hugs and their I love yous and being with them for 3 years. I think the 3-year cycle is huge because then you get to really know them. I think at this age group, I think they're in this sensitive period. It's like the top of their head is open, just open, and all the information you can put in there at this age group, they gather and they retain. And I think that ages 3 to 6, it's the time of their life where they're going to learn to be lifelong learners. And I think it's the directress's job to guide them through the classroom, to give them this environment that you've prepared for them. Everything's their size. It's not our size, it's their size. Everything's low, and so they feel comfortable and secure and confident in their classroom, so they can really open themselves up to learning other things like grace and courtesy, learning from their mentors, which are their older children in the classroom. They really look up to the older children in the classroom. it's almost like they learn more from the older children in the classroom than they do from the adults. Sometimes I feel like a wallflower in the classroom because I just kind of have to stand back and everybody's working and the materials are self-teaching, self-correcting. It's just where, Adele and I are the link between them and the material. I think that it's just, they're in this sensitive period to fully understand grace and courtesy. Because I think once you learn it from the beginning and you know grace and courtesy, you carry it through your whole life. It's not, you don't have to correct it later on in life if they haven't learned it. Teaching a dog a new trick, they don't have to relearn it because it's like we've planted the seed and it's ready to grow from here. So I really think that they get this grasp of love for learning, and since they're using all their senses with these materials, they get to touch it, they get to see it, we have smelling work. I think they really grasp the idea of math and reading and geography because they're, the world's a huge place, and it's hard at that age to understand, oh, this is Earth. Oh, if I want to go to China, okay, 2 minutes I can get there. No, it takes a long time traveling and learning about different cultures and languages and holidays, and just not being so narrow. I think here at Montessori you have your core values of what your family gives you, but then your mind's open to different cultures and different kinds of people, and being open-minded to be acceptful to not everybody's like me, and that's okay.